The stalking? I'm sorry, I'm gone.
Dedicating something to your like deceased friend and also to people getting off on ghost face masks is kind of crazy. But okay. Not her literally having a bug in her while touring her childhood home. Hello friends, welcome to the dark romance video. We're gonna be reading Blood Orange, Haunting Adeline, and Slasher Pass in this video. These are all books that I either found from like BookTok or BookTube, and then one of them was a request from one of you guys. They kind of like increase in severity as the video goes on. So like if the first book's a little too tame for you, don't worry, because like it gets there, okay? I don't want to give too much away, so we can just like roll the clips. Hey guys, what's up? We're currently reading Blood Orange by Karina, Halle. It says it's a Dracula retelling, but it's not like the story of Dracula. Dracula is just like the character, except he's not even Dracula. He's like the person that Dracula was based off of in this world. And it's about this girl. She's a witch and her job is to kill Dracula, but his name's Valtu. So she needs to kill Valtu. That's like her mission, okay? But she's actually the love of his life reincarnated. So that's like obviously causing some problems because they like are in love, but she like supposed to kill him, you know. There's also like a student teacher element where she has to go to school to like for the mission, and he's like a professor teaching at the school. This is definitely like the spiciest book I've ever read. It says on here like dark and spicy gothic romance. I have had to skim through some of the smut scenes because they're like really long, and I'm like, oh my god, like let's like keep it moving, guys. But you know, whatever. Would I say this book is like good though? Like tough. There's been some like weird sentence structures that like just don't make sense, and there's typos. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading this. Yeah, I'm currently watching the Pavalia Island episode of Ghost Adventures to like set the mood, right? Because they're currently there. They have a meeting, all right, with two of the bad vampires. So, okay, see you in a bit. This is too much. What the fuck?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
All right, it's a bit later. I finished it. I'm a little irritated because the ending was like bad. There's so much story that just like what about the entire plot, you know? But like, am I gonna read the second one? Yeah, I think so. You know, I'm down to read a duology. But like there was so much left unfinished to where it feels like I'm forced to read the second one. And I don't like love that. I don't love that, okay? This book is like pretty short, so like I'm more okay with it than if it were like chunky. And like, do I wish that this was just one large book? No. So yeah, I guess I have to read the other one now. She's so goofy. Okay, I finished Black Rose. This cover is so dark you can't even see it. Really sad that I wasted time really reading this. I was like interested in the plot, okay? Book 1. Did we get any answers? No, we didn't. I still have so many questions, so many things left unanswered. Okay, so obviously this is the second book to Blood Orange. But if you don't want it spoiled, then skip past this part, okay? So this is your spoiler warning. So at the end of the book, Valtu actually ends up killing Dahlia, which is the love interest, okay? He finds out that she is a witch and figures that she is trying to kill him. Before the other witch that's present, that's how he finds out there's another witch and witches know other witches. Before the other witch can take off her glamour because she's too weak because he's strangling her, he has killed her. Lots of things wrong with it. Why couldn't he wait 5 fucking seconds? Why did he immediately go into killer mode? The math is just not mathing. Like, you were like really loving this girl. You're not even gonna give her the benefit of doubt. You go straight for the kill. It's like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Okay, so obviously he's distraught by his own impatience, I guess. And so he's like, can you make her into a vampy? No, it's too late. Cry, scream, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, I'm gonna go steal that book from the 2 bad vampires and figure out how to bring her back from the dead. Good plan. He gets the book actually, but now he's like possessed by this book, okay? And this book reveals spells to you. One of the spells that it revealed to him was like an erase spell, erase your mind spell. So he decides that he's gonna erase her from his memory. All memories of her is gonna be gone.
I did such a bad job at explaining this. She has a glamour on the whole book because if she didn't have her glamour on, he would know she was a witch and then assume that she was there to kill him. So that's why he doesn't know immediately that it's his past lover. He just like has a feeling that he knows her from somewhere, but he can't remember. Like he can't put 2 and 2 together. Like the reason she has to kill Valtu, I don't actually know. But her secondary mission is to retrieve this grimoire / this book I keep referring to that the bad vampire stole, because it's like essentially opened up a portal to like another world, and there's crazy creatures. Like there's one that's called the Bad Thing. They're kind of like wreaking havoc, and it's kind of like, I need to get this grimoire back so I can close this portal and give it to my boss, who is also my dad, and he becomes the enemy to kill in the second book, because it turns out that he actually orchestrated her parents dying, so then she would be forced to go to his academy and like become one of his witches. So he's actually the bad guy, which is what their quest is. It's like she's gonna go kill him. So yeah, I thought I would clear things up. Oh my god, this first part, kind of a mess. Sorry for that.
She's gone from his mind, okay? He knows that there was a woman he loved immensely and it caused him pain, and he erased her from his mind, but that's the only memory he's got. The next book starts 21 years later after he kills Dahlia. And our main girly, Dahlia, she is now named Rose, okay? And she's now a vampire, so thank God that she's a little more durable this time. Can't necessarily get strangled. You know, she can't go through this whole plot thing again where she meets him naturally, then realizes that they were past lovers and shit. So she's got to speed that shit right up. So girl vampires, they turn to vampires when they're 21. So whenever she goes through her transformation, that's when she remembers that she had all these past lives and shit, and that she's in love with Valtu, even though she's never met him. Like, saying it is so funny. Okay, anyways, yeah, all her memories are jogged. She goes to her parents, so she's like, Mom, I'm in love with Valtu. They're like, what the f? And then she's like, you lied to me. I'm like remembering all these things about you, and like you lied, and then whatever. So she like travels to Dracula's place. He now lives in this moody ass castle in the sky. I don't know, y'all. Just accept it, okay? So yeah, she goes to the castle to be his little like play toy thing, just for him to like have sex with, essentially. She goes there. He's a little apprehensive because normally he doesn't have vampires. He normally just has humans. Of course they duh, that's all that happens in these books. And of course she knows everything he likes. This is her 4th lifetime with him at this point. Like, she knows what he likes during, okay? So she knows all the tricks, all the tools, and he's like really loving it, blah, 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 blah. This keeps going on. Eventually he finds out that she is his lost lover, and I don't really remember what happens, but he's like fine with it. He's gonna help her get revenge on the, I don't know. He's gonna help her get revenge from something that happened in the last book, okay? So throughout this whole process of them trying to get revenge and reveal spells and shit, he starts to fall in love with her. Duh. Lucky for him, he's still got a little vial of his little erase memory serum. So when they finally reach their destination where she's gonna get her revenge, he takes it again, bro, and erases her a second time. And then he's like, what have I done? And she's like, I don't know. So anyways, she's like crying, cry. She gets so upset that she like bursts this magic book, the grimoire. She like destroys it, because in this she like retained her witch skill from Dahlia, and she's also a vampire, so now she can do witchy shit too. So she kills the book, and that lifts Valtu's spell serum thing, and now he remembers her and everything's good. And that's really how the book ends. Oh wait, no, it's not. Forgot there's pregnancy also. My least favorite thing. So she had a miscarriage in one of her past lives, and she died in childbirth. So they like have a kid. That's literally the end. No, nothing interesting about the book, where the book came from, the book lore, the creatures that were from the book. What about them? Where were they? What were they from? How'd they get there? At the end, those two bad vampires, one of them survived. There's nothing with her. There's no, like, she doesn't come back to the story. She's just off screen, fucking around, I guess. Oh my god, wait. During the smut scenes, okay, the author loves to say, Christ on a bike, as like an expression, okay? Let me just, see how many times that is in this book. Okay, turns out it's only in there 3 times, but like every time you read it, you're like catalog it in your mind. It's not like a word that comes naturally. You don't naturally say that every day, And he's the one who says it. You expect me to take you seriously when your expression is Christ on a bike? It's just so cringe because he's like, it's always like in a sexy tone. Like, oh, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. She says it 3 times in the second book, okay? Let's see how many times it's in the first. Because it was there too. I know it was. 2 times. That is 5 more times that it should have been said in this whole duology. Like, just stop. Don't say that. So if you are interested in this for the plot, don't be, because you will be sorely disappointed, because there will be legitimately no answers given to you about anything that you were interested in. These are the paragraphs of them explaining the plot, and then these are the paragraphs of them explaining the smut, okay? So that's where all the words come from. These books are short, but I bet there's about 100 pages only of plot. So do with that what you will. If you're looking for a book that is 90% smut, 10% plot, but that plot's kind of interesting, and you don't care if there's a lot of plot holes, it's just, to keep the story moving, you like fast-paced books. This book was easy to read, probably because most of it was smut scenes, so it was just like skim, okay, moving on, okay, So that's who I'd recommend this series to. But like, really, don't read it. Just don't. Don't do it. If it sounds interesting to you, just know it's not that interesting. I need some plot, okay? Don't insult me with this no plot nonsense. The whole like, let me worship you. Ugh, I hate that. I hate that. Do y'all like that? Like, let me know. I like enjoyed the whole like, he doesn't like her thing, but he's like interested, but she likes him. I need more dark romances like that, where the guy is not a simp ever, never a simp. Because at the end I was like, ugh, he's just back to his simpish self. He's just back to simping. Worse, perhaps, than he was in the first book. So yeah, where is the guy who is just mid about the girl the whole time? Like, no praise, only degradation, and also he's like barely likes her. Oh god, it's so bad. Why am I this way? That's my dream, I think, for like a dark romance. It's like, he's really not ever really like fucking with her. Maybe that's like the fuckboy dark romance. So if you got any of those, you've read any of those, you got any to recommend me? Let me know. I'm exposing myself. Okay, we're gonna read Haunting Adeline. We're gonna do it. I feel strong enough. Like, I'm down, okay? It's already not disappointing. Okay, chapter 1, The Manipulator. How many pages is this? Whoa. Holy crap, this is really long. 526 pages? I don't know, guys. I'm nervous. Okay, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna rip the band-aid. What the f do they have to talk about for that much? Like, what do you have to say that many things? You really gonna say that much? Please pray for me. I'll update you guys whenever I read something in Haunting Adeline that makes me go, what the fuck? So, catch you later. I am literally only on page 21, and this is how I feel when I read this. Like this, I feel like I've been reading this for literally 5 hours, and it's been 21 pages. It's like the things that she's describing, like the thing that she's doing that is just so terrible. The inner thoughts. Like, is it supposed to be funny? It's not funny. I'm gonna insert a quote here that adequately explains the feeling. Literally, I tried reading this so long ago, and I read the prologue, and I was like, peace out. The stalking? I'm sorry, I'm gone. No stalking. For real. The
I don't want to read this.
Hello, I'm back. I finished it. Okay, let's start with saying, was it as bad as I thought it was gonna be? No. Surprisingly, no. I thought there was gonna be some like crazy whack shit going on. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely some like questionable things. Okay, so like some spoilers ahead, you know? The stalking part really only lasts through like the first half of the book, I would say. And then it's just like straight into some weird vigilante shit, mystery thriller. The one thing about this book that like kind of cracked me up the whole time I was reading it was it's like, oh, he's a stalker, right? Yeah, that's fucked up. But it's like, oh, this is the only girl he's ever stalked, okay? He's only stalking her. So it's okay. It's not creepy, you know? Oh, he kills people, right? But like he only kills pedophiles. Not just any kind of bad people, okay? Pedophiles only. Some other thoughts on this book? The author tries to be really funny. Like, tries to make the main character really funny. Like, we're supposed to haha laugh at this internal dialogue that she's having, but it's just so cringe. Like, she says, Dea is nearly bouncing in her seat while I'm contemplating Googling 1,000 ways to die's contact information so I can send them a new story. Like, is that supposed to be funny? This whole book is like kind of an oxymoron of itself. Like, it's like, I get off on being scared, but I don't want to be in a horror movie. And it's like, I love to torture people, but I don't get off on the sounds of them being tortured. And like, it's just, this book I also found was like extremely difficult to read. Like the sentences, the sentence structure, I found myself having to reread things to be like, I literally am not understanding what this sentence means. Like, I had to read it a lot to like get the, like, figure it out, which I haven't really had to do before. Maybe my brain is just off. And this whole book is also like, that's what she said jokes. There's so much. They dwindle a bit, you know, as the book goes on, but in the beginning it is like pure that's what she said jokes. It's a lot of the whole like, all I want to do is break her, shatter her into pieces, and then arrange those pieces to fit against my own. I don't care if they don't fit. I'll make them. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Break her how? Huh? That doesn't make sense. I just don't get it. I don't understand that analogy. But they all use it. They all use that, I want to break you and then put you back together. This is a good representation of what you're getting yourself into when you decide to read this book. I plop on the bed, crisscrossing my legs as I stare at my phone like it's a mousetrap with a big ass block of cheese in it. Gourmet smoked Gouda f***ing cheese, to be precise. The phone lights up with an incoming text. The vibrations in the bed traveling straight up my legs. I snatch it up. I love Gouda cheese, god damn it. Like, don't make me read that. For real. What else we got? Like, it's just, these are just really funny to me. He says, milk my fuck. There's also a weird thing. It's like, okay, so our man, okay, Z slash Zayd slash Zach. He is like QAnon, essentially. He is the leader of QAnon, okay? So that's like the second half of the book is like, well, okay, throughout the book, he's like doing his vigilante shit as QAnon, all right? And our girl's best friend, turns out she also works for him, which, like, how big is this organization, okay? He's like a hacker. There's a lot of like pedophilia mentioning in this book, which, like, I don't really want to read that. I just don't. He couldn't have killed murderers, or like, you know, like it couldn't be any other crime. Like, it had to be that one to make it cool for our lady. There is a lot of like, you are my redemption, you're my salvation, I'm God, I can be your angel or I can be your devil, you know what I mean? There's a lot of that. Also, during these like tension scenes where he's like doing his work thing as QAnon, just think that, okay, he's at work right now, he's doing work things, trying to kill the pedophiles, all right? This time when more tension rolls in, it's because of my visceral need to be Addie her into oblivion and making her delirious with how hard I'm going to make her. Like, can bruh not just like not think about that for like 2 seconds? Like, how is he doing this work and then also thinking about that? Like, how is he getting distracted? I don't think I will be giving this book a 2. I think it's at least a 3, but it's like a low 3. For a stalker romance, it's like she did a pretty good job, you know, all things considered. Will I be reading the second book? I did start it. However, I believe it's really long. It's 684 pages. That is so much. Like, we already worked so hard and now we're back, you know, whatever. I don't think I'm going to read the second book. I think I will read, like, go to Wikipedia and like read the plot synopsis just to like see what happened. But I don't think I'm going to spend how much. It says I have 8 hours left. I'm sorry, no. It's October 13th already. Like, I have so many other October books. So I can't waste 8 precious hours of reading time on the second book of Haunting Adeline. Like, I'm sorry, I just can't. But I mean, I think I know where it's heading. Like, everything's going to end up great and everything's going to be fine. So, like, do I really need to read 687 pages to get me there? I don't think so. So, yeah, whatever. I don't even know what to read next. I don't even know. Let's see what we got. Oh, the slasher pass. We have to do the slasher pass next. This book is, whoa, this book is long. 540 pages. God damn it. They really make you fucking work for this. Let's just get started. This is the dedication. And I just saw this Spirit Halloween meme where it was like when a couple comes into Spirit Halloween buying a ghost face costume. And it's like all the employees. And then I guess this is also dedicated to her friend. Dedicating something to your like deceased friend and also to people getting off on ghost face masks is kind of crazy. But okay. All right. Book is rated R. Features cults, religious trauma, purity culture, child neglect, child abuse. Stop with the child SA. Stop. Is that like a thing that a lot of dark romance books do? Is they use child abuse and like pedophilia to like justify the actions of their MMCs? Non-con, dub-con. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Murder, mass murder, mention of death by suicide, death by poison, torture, abuse through cult, religious actions, blood play, knife play, stabbing, guns, gore, spitting, stalking, chasing, attacking, people in masks, police ignorance, mental health ignorance, callous mention of dementia, a FMC with a mental health disorder who chooses to be unmedicated. And lastly, dark magic lore created entirely by the author and not directly taken from any real life religious or spiritual group. There's a lot to unpack here. There was a playlist. Ugh, I don't like when there's playlists. It just is kind of cringe. But like when I was thinking of this book, like the concept behind it, I was not thinking No Shame by 5 Seconds of Summer. Like, why? That song's like so like upbeat, you know? Wow, a lot of Ice Nine Kills. Sarah Smiles by Panic at the Disco. If you don't know these songs, like just go play them a little bit, okay? Just get yourself a little snippet and see like what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like, why is it so happy? Some Rebecca Black. All right. Okay, she says, this book is meant to be fast-paced, absurd, and a huge nod to slasher films. Not just with the ghost face mask that was purely for horror babies. Talking about it all, the classic destined to be oft friend group, weird secondary plot that just comes in and comes right back out. Quick kills, cheap thrills, how we move fast to avoid thinking about how stuff doesn't make sense. Why doesn't she just run the other way? No, this was meant to be fun, spicy, and overall solid slasher story. Keep that in mind while reading, and I think you'll enjoy the book for what it is. Okay, I've never read that before a book where it's like, turn your brain off. Like, don't think about it too hard. That's really tough for me. I don't know. Can I do it? I'm gonna get started. Update you guys whenever I feel is necessary or I have something to say. Okay, we are halfway through with slash or pass. So the gist of her story is that the 3 of them were in a cult together, okay? So 2 escaped. That is our main girl and Kansas. And the one that didn't get away / died is Constantine, okay? Turns out he's alive, duh. But also Constantine is the son of the cult leader. Kansas goes to school, but I don't think he actually goes to school. I think he's like lying to Isley. Isley, you know, she's doing her streaming Twitch thing where she makes witchy brews and looks hot. And Constantine, we don't really know where he's been. He just came back and he's just been killing people willy-nilly. The like horror, it's not even horror. The horror aspect of this is just her describing him killing people. But it's very like dry. It's like, I slit his throat. I stabbed him. You know, it's nothing like crazy gory or like, I don't feel frightened when I read this. It does not remind me of a slasher movie. It doesn't. There was a weird like thing. She like didn't have sex with anybody because she was like, Constantine died because we didn't save him, and I was supposed to lose my him, but now he's dead, so I'm just never gonna have sex. That's some crazy logic, but okay. So anyways, he comes back and there's this whole like, did you save yourself for me? Like, that is disgusting. But he has had sex with other people, so it's kind of like, wait, you can have sex with other people, you expect her to not have sex with anybody? Like, I don't fuck with that, but whatever. At least maybe it like can't be hot if they're both virgins. Like, he at least has to be experienced. I don't know, it's so bad. Okay, so there's that. All right, there's a documentary crew currently that's in their town doing a documentary on the cult that was there 10 years ago before they all died. And some of Isley's friends are like in this documentary talking about it, and they want her to do it, and she's like refusing, and she's like, that's fucked up to exploit victims for fame. So people in their town start dying, okay, because Constantine's just killing them for funsies. I think I've said in the past that I love an eat the rich vibe, but I don't think I understood that that meant kill the rich. But this book, they are literally, like, it is very eat the rich because that is who they're murdering. So, yeah. There is this really cringy thing where she gets, like, a $750 check from the Netflix people doing the documentary. And he's like, whenever I get dumb money like that, I go get a tattoo. Ugh. And she says, a tattoo? She blinked. I have always wanted one, but never had anyone to go with. You want to go get one? You'd look sexy with one. She blushed and pushed her hair behind her ear. You think? Do you think? You think I would look sexy with a tattoo? Like, stop. Oh god. I bit down on my lip as my throbbed, just imagining her covered in ink. That's really rough to me. This is the worst thing that's happened in the book so far, okay? This tattoo appointment. This tattoo guy. His name is Boogie, okay? This scene happens while Boogie is sitting approximately right next to them. He's tattooing her while this scene is going on, okay? So let me just like read this dialogue to you that is occurring between Isley and Constantine, okay? What's your favorite movie? Spooky or not? Either. The Strangers, which is a bonkers response. And your non-spooky movie? There is none. Why do you like that movie so much? She relaxed as I stroked her hand with my thumb and closed her eyes. The idea of a masked man coming in and tying me up, making me completely vulnerable to whatever he wants to do with me. Her lips let out a small moan and then her eyes popped open. She looked over at Boogie, who was doing his best to ignore us. It's okay, I chuckled. You can tell me all about your wildest fantasies. You like being tied up? I don't know, that's all fictional. None of that ever happens in real life. And he says in his mind, it could be. I think you underestimate a man's desire to please his woman. I reached up and ran my thumb over the tip of her nipple while Boogie is standing right there, sitting very close to her and them. Like right now, I'd do anything to spread your and eat your while he works. Right here, right now. If I were Boogie, I'd be like, get the out. Get the out of my chair. Get out of here and never come back. And also, I'm gonna file a sexual harassment lawsuit. What the fuck is that? It gets worse. Don't even worry, it gets worse. Stop, she gasped. Why? You afraid he'll know how you're getting in his chair? I don't think he'd care. Why don't you let this man speak for himself? Boogie, how do you actually feel about that? Who's asking Boogie how he feels about the situation? They're just assuming that he's cool with that. I ran my hand along the inside of her thigh. You want to princess? He just asked her if she wanted to while Boogie's sitting right there, giving her a tattoo. Of course, obviously. Finally, after all this nonsense, Boogie actually speaks up for himself and he says, will you stop? We both turned our head to see the tattoo artist scowling. You're making her squirm. Okay, so he's not even mad about the other stuff. He's just mad that she's moving while he's trying to work. Which, like, that's really respectful, Boogie. But, like, you don't need to be respectful after they just, like, disrespected you like that, okay? So, yeah. After that, I was like, I think I need to take a little break from this book. So, and I needed to update you guys on that. Because that is really, really weird. Ugh. And there's, like, Gen Z, like, language in here, and it's really weird and not done correctly. So it says, "You're so dumb," another girl said. "It's not haunted, although it's giving that. It does serve," another guy said. I don't think she knows the difference between it's giving and it's serving. Do I not know the difference? I digress. It's this weird dialogue. It feels like she's trying to force the Gen Z slang in. The smut in this book is genuinely, like, unreadable. I really don't understand what the central conflict of this book is, because there is none. There is no plot, really. We're kind of aimlessly wandering around, which is why this book is hard to describe, because there's really nothing that's happening. I don't know if you can just get away with writing, like, a shitty book by, like, disclaiming it in the beginning and saying, like, hey, this book's shitty. And, like, don't take it too seriously. This is, like, just bad. Okay? So, like, any criticisms you have, you just can't criticize it because I'm acknowledging that it's bad. And also, like, a slasher film and a slasher novel are, like, two completely different things. Like, slasher films, you're, like, relying predominantly on the gore that you're seeing visually. And then books, a lot of the horror is, like, a psychological horror. Like, you can't gore your way through a book, really. It doesn't, like, translate one to one. Also, like, a slasher movie, it goes by way faster than a book, okay? This book is, like, over 500 pages, I think. Like, that's gonna take you at least, like, 6-7 hours to read. Slasher movie, that is, like, an hour and a half of, like, wasted time to, like, have a silly, goofy movie. But to, like, waste 6-7 hours of someone's time with, like, a silly, goofy slasher book where the descriptions of them being slashed are like, I slit his neck, I stabbed them in the back, I snuck behind him, grabbed him, and stabbed him in the back. It's kind of like, it's not giving the same. It's not giving slasher. Like, there's absolutely no reason for me to continue reading this book. There's nothing that I want to find out. There's no conflict that needs to be resolved. There is nothing that I am curious about what's going to happen with this. It is so brain off. There is no thinking involved with this book because there's nothing to think about. Okay, this is like a spoiler. I mean, all of this is a spoiler, but Spencer is one of her friends and he is dating another one of her friends and he's, like, really, really rich. And he, like, had a shrine of Isley and, like, was one of her, like, biggest fans who, like, gave her the most money, and, like, he was, like, obsessed with her. And then she goes to his funeral and his mom is like, "Thank you for what you've done for Spencer. Like, he really needed you." Like, I don't know what the author's excuse for that whole scene was, because that's not in slasher films. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just struggling. That was, like, a big, like, wait, what? Like, his mom knew about him being obsessed with Isley, but Isley didn't know that it was him. And the girlfriend is like, yeah, he would call me Isley whenever he was having with me. And I was, like, cool with it. It's just, like, wait. And then they just kind of, like, breeze back. Like, it's over now. Like, his funeral happened. His mom said some weird shit, and, like, now that part's over. Like, who's Spencer? I don't know. He's done. Okay. I think Kansas and Constantine are in cahoots with each other, and they're both killing people in masks, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, like, we're just waiting for them to have a I guess. Or for, like, her to have with Kansas, I guess. And, like, why is his name Kansas? And why is his name Constantine? I don't know, guys. Okay, we're just gonna read some more, see what happens. I don't know. I'm on page 287 and I'm 55% through. That is just unacceptable. Help. Please help. I also forgot a part in this book. Later on, they find out that the cult had a way of, like, abducting kids without anyone knowing. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Anyways, the documentary crew that comes, they actually find out who her birth parents are, and they use that to get her to participate in the documentary. So they're like, if you say some stuff in the documentary, we'll tell you about your birth parents and like tell you where they are. Turns out they're dead, of course. So annoying. And so her and Constantine end up going to her birth parents' home where she like grew up for the first 5 years of her life before she was kidnapped by the cult. But before they go, okay, Constantine shows her what a is. Yeah, she puts the in before she goes to her dead family's home that she grew up in. So like while she's touring her childhood home, she literally has a inside her, and he's like, better act chill around the new owners or they're gonna think like you're weird or something. It's supposed to be like a really serious scene, just like overrides any seriousness that was supposed to occur in that scene. She like has a flashback of like her mom and her dad, and like her dad reading her stories, and it's like, I'm sorry, I can't focus because you keep mentioning this damn and I don't know. All right, back to scheduled programming.
She's filming porn for herself. No, for Constantine in her bed because he trapped her there. He like has her on a leash and she can't leave, but he gave her a and some lube. So she's like, what else am I gonna do? I'm sitting right here, you know, I got nothing else to do. He fucked her leg up by chasing her in the woods.
So he's trying to kill her now?
I don't know. So she tripped and she fell when he was chasing her through the woods with a mask on and a knife. And so now she's like laying in the bed. She's like, well, I guess I'm gonna like fucking drink this. She said, I spotted my smart hub in the corner of the room. I didn't even know if it still worked, but having music would relax me. I went to it, plugged it in, and it booted up. It lit bright blue, and I spoke to it. Hub, put on a spicy playlist.
Ew.
It flashed for a moment and then dinged. Putting on a spicy playlist. The room filled with Doja Cat.
Preparing sh**.
I just read chapters 71 through like 73, okay? I missed the person I was before I read that. Just some like unbiased review of these sections. It feels like, yeah, can say that. You know, whenever it's like, oh, like, I'm gonna have the pizza guy vibes. This is like, this entire book is like the pizza man arriving. And like the whole point of him even coming to the house to deliver the pizza was to have, you know? So that's how this whole book feels. Like, it feels like she just took the pizza guy coming and then went and stretched it for 475 pages. So anyways, now Constantine is Kansas to show Isley how to do it. That's right. Yeah. And they keep calling her princess. Oh, it's just so bad. It's so bad. Like, the whole point of the book was to get to this scene. You know what I'm saying? Ugh, I'm 87% done. She found out that Constantine and Kansas are both killing people. She, like, does not give a single fuck. You think she's gonna care because she's like, how could they do this? And then she's just kind of like, okay, well, my horse is overpowering any like disturbed feeling that I'm feeling, so she's like cool with that. I don't really know. Okay, I'm gonna just, I don't know how much pages is left. 477. Okay, so I got less than 100 pages. I'm just gonna finish this real quick, come back and give you my final thoughts on Slasher Pass. So okay, so it's finally over. Jesus Christ. There is so much to explain. Actually, not really. There's really not that much. Okay, so we get this little backstory where, God, I don't even know how it works. Constantine's dad, the cult leader, okay, was like testing these rituals to try to get people to like be raised from the dead. How did he die and how did the rest of the whole cult die? I don't know. But apparently he got it right when Constantine was killed. Okay, so he was killed, but it was all for the ritual and he was brought back to life, and their god that they serve is called the reanimator. And so whenever they die and then they're brought back to life, they are reanimated. Okay. Constantine just like shows up at Kansas's house because he's mad that he left the town that they lived in to go to college. So he's pissed at him. So he does this ritual with him and then makes him immortal. Yeah. And so they're like, let's do it to Isley so we'll all be immortal together forever. You know? The catch is that whenever you're reanimated, you just have this like urge to kill. You just like have to murder people. You just like have to. So that explains why it's cool that they kill people, because it's like a compulsion that they can't help. Okay. It's not like they're actually like want to kill people. They just have to. This book was so bad. It's getting a 1. I cannot in good faith give it anything more than a 1. There's a lot of holes in this book. But there's like so many that it is like impossible to like go through them all and like explain to you what they all were, because it would take, I don't know, probably forever. This book was too much for me. You know, this is my first adventure into the dark romance, okay? And I gotta say that I'm like pretty skeptical. I don't know if Slasher Pass is like the deep end. Like, I'm really not sure what like the scale is for dark romance. Like, not sure. Did it feel like a slasher movie? Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. It did feel very Halloween. Like, they did a lot of Halloween things. Like, they went on a hayride. And I don't know. Like, they mentioned spooky stuff. Spooky Halloween stuff. Okay? Throughout the whole time. I did not feel like I was watching a slasher movie in any way, shape, or form. Actually. At the end of the book, she has an excerpt from, like, the other book in this Final Girls series. And it is a forbidden stepbrother horror romance. You guys are f***ed up. You guys are just f***ed up. In this little about the author section, it says, after watching Heathers and listening to My Chemical Romance one too many times in her teens. Chicana author? What does that mean? Oh, a girl or woman of Mexican origin or descent. Tylor Paige. Tylor or Taylor? Tylor Paige was drawn to the darkness where the villains were still villains but deserved love stories too. I haven't seen Heathers, but I did listen to My Chemical Romance. But that did not draw me to the darkness, per se. Like, what was she listening to? Was she really listening to, like, Cannibal Corpse? Because that's, like, what this is giving. Like, Cannibal Corpse should be included in the soundtrack of this book. Not No Shame by 5 Seconds of Summer. Not that. No. I don't think I get the whole, like, I want to fuck the killer. I don't think I understand that. There's somewhere there that, like, it got lost in translation for me. If it does it for you, you know, power to you. I'm glad that there is media for you to consume. My whole October was essentially spent reading these dark romance books, which kind of sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. Thank you for enduring this with me. If you want me to read anything that you're too afraid to read, just let me know. Hit me up and I'll read it for you, okay? So, peace out.